Hi there. So this video that I'm creating here now today is a simple tutorial for anyone who would like to decide maybe I want to do concept art or creature design, character design, but I've never done an art class and I can't draw. Okay, so I'm going to run you through some software techniques and very simple preset 3D steps to be able to figure out something and be able to create something that you can then work on in Photoshop. Okay. So what I have open here is DAZ Studio 4.0, okay, made by a company called DAZ 3D. So this is DAZ 3D. It's free 3D suite. You can download the software for free, but you pay for the content. So the character I'm going to use here today, this is a Genesis 3 male, basic male, and I'm using a set of tools called, if I go back to here a second, Fantasy Creature Character Creator Morphs, right? So these are morphs. So I have a lot of these, okay? So I have spent quite a bit of money on my basic kind of layout so I can create goblins and demons, dragons, aliens, things like this for illustration. Now, if you're someone who likes D&D and wants to create all your own monsters and stuff and kind of stick within the basic kind of derivative range of fantasy, these are the kind of things you can use. I've also got very basic pose presets and basic armor and weapons and different hair and stuff like that. I don't worry in this program too much about texturing because I'm going to bring that into another level later on for photoshopping. So I'm just going to work with this for basic presets, right? So here's my T-pose human figure. And if I go here in DAZ to shaping, I have all of these great tools that I can go, right, I'm going to give him an orc brute body, right, so let's make him kind of chunky. Or I can bring that down. And these are using the character morphs now, right, and I can make him maybe, make him a bit skinny. We'll go with a kind of a troll. And I also have some morphs. I've added on some morphs for cartoon styles. So I want to make him look a bit more like Gru in body size from, let's say, Gru from Despicable Me or something, okay? Just something like this, okay? But I'd actually want him to make him a bit more muscular. So I have him in, let me see, let's go with a kind of a good kind of slim model build. Something like that, okay? So now our guy, very quickly, is looking like this. Okay, it's quite cartoonish at the moment, but this is just for looking at how to use this program. Okay, so if I go to the head, make it look more like a demon. I can give him pixie ears, bring out the jaw size more maybe. Now it's going to have us looking like the Goblin King from The Hobbit. Let me see now what else we got. So I go actor. Lots of different body styles as you can see in here. Got a couple of other morphs, so got a kind of a half pig man. This guy is based on a crocodile. Got a Hercules body and given lots of really big muscles if I wanted to. Okay. With the head, make it circular. I can even make it like really long. That's very cartoonish again. I can go Fey folk, make him look kind of more elven, or I can go full on goblin. Okay. So let's say we just leave it at that, okay? That's using the basic character morphs in DAZ. Now what I want to do is, I'm going to dress him, okay? I'm going to give him some very basic clothes. So I have a lot of different model kit, I kit bash, that's how I like to build my models, my character designs. So I have all the kind of Spartan clothes. So if I give him like, drag on a Spartan base, okay, and maybe some pirate boots, and what about armor? Let me give him some armor. Maybe I should give him something. You see, tunic. You know what? I won't give him armor because what I'm going to do for the sake of this tutorial is I'm going to actually, in a different program, I'm going to give him scales, okay? But we're going to give him a basic pose, a basic action pose, okay? So in order to do that, I have a lot of these are my preset poses. So I'm going to give him like a concept art pose, right? So something like this. So that's my model standing, okay? Now, the thing about making the pose, if I make a pose at this point, it means I have to turn off symmetry later on in a different program. If I kept him in a T pose, I can use symmetry, which means that whatever I create on one side, I can create on the other. But because I want to get this guy just to be a very sketchy concept character, I'm going to give him that pose, and let's give him a weapon. I'll go to props, and I'm going to go to weapons, and I'm going to go, let me see what I got, blades. Something that would fit in his right hand. So I just got a basic right hand axe. Okay, I'll give him a big axe. It fits right into his hand. Okay, it's a bit, because I've made it quite ogreish, it's quite small. Okay, so I'm gonna, let's just delete that axe and go with something. Do I have any extreme blades? There you go. Let's put that in instead and just translate it a bit so it fits his hand. Okay, so there's our guy, the big blade, looking kind of a cross between something from Shrek and something from Pixar, maybe. So I'm going to go export. Okay, I'm kind of going to route this the wrong way. If I want to say this is a full-on project and make variations, I'm going to go save my DAZ file. So I'm going to go for this purpose, this new folder, character design. I'm going to call him Shrek Goblin. Okay. And I'm going to go open reason to find my Shrek Goblin. Let him load up. Now remember, DAZ Studio from daz3d.com is free software, but you pay for the content. Okay, so if you were to go while he's loading up, if I was to go in there and get that, it's $39 for the almost $40 for that creature set. The Genesis 3 mod. This is for a Genesis 3 male, and I'm using the Genesis 3 male, which I was a free download because it's one of their base packs. Okay, so now he's back. I'm going to export. And we're going to call him Shrek Goblin as a wavefront object file. So .obj, which is a basic 3D model file. And I'm exporting with no maps because I don't actually want the materials from this software. Okay, so he's done, right? So I'm going to quit DAZ Studio. And the next thing I'm going to do is turn off Photoshop for a minute. It's from a previous project. I'm going to open a program called ZBrush. Now ZBrush is 3D clay modeling. It's a very high-end program that's used by lots of games companies and VFX companies for creature and character design. In terms of the expense, where a lot of software is very expensive, it actually ranges in at about $800 to $900. It is not that expensive because it's an all-out license and you get free upgrades. Well, I do for the moment until at some point I'll probably have to rebuy it. It's a great piece of software. It's basically 3D clay modeling. So I'm going to import my object file. So I find my character design, there's my object file, I'll bring it in. Now the difference between ZBrush and any other program is my model just doesn't pop up on the screen, okay? It doesn't pop up in the interface, I have to drag him in. So there he is. I press T for transform so that all my buttons on the right here, when they're highlighted, it means I'm in 3D mode and I can turn my model. If they're off, it means that my model is in 2D mode. So what happens is, now I can't push him and this happens. And I end up making loads of models. So what I need to do is I'm going to go layer, file, layer, clear, gets rid of those, drag one in, and press T, and boom, now we can rotate him again. Okay, so that's my model all set up. Okay, so I'm just going to go into a button called geometry because you can see it's quite, the mesh here is quite pixelated, which means that it's low poly coming out of DAZ. Now, low poly means that there's less polygons in the model, and a polygon is a sphere, which is like a pixel is to a picture. Okay, so a flat square is a pixel, and a digital sphere is like it's basically a polygon. Okay, I'm sure others will explain it better. The ZBrush interface can be quite scary. A lot of videos I found are very hard and not the best at explaining it, and they go, oh, I'm going to do a simple tutorial, and it ends up being extremely complicated with about five or six steps passed over. What I find actually very interesting looking at my model, it kind of looks like a cartoon of Thanos, but anyway, let's move on. I'm going to divide it, and it'll instantly start to smooth out. So now you can see that he's kind of smoothed out there a bit. If I zoom in and look more at his body, I'll divide one more time. Now, quite smooth. I won't go more further than that because it'll start to crash out my system a bit. So there's my guy, smooth it out a bit. Now in ZBrush, I have some extra brushes here that come from websites like Flipped Normals, which is the character design brushes. They're $250 for the commercial license on that set. Okay, it's $99 for the license for just for yourself. You know, if you're just working non-commercially. But I have the pro license. There's also this creature tool, which comes with ZBrush. Okay, and I'm going to use that to create some armor. So I'm going to get scales. I'm going to actually just drag some scales. I'm just dragging on my pen tool here. I'm going to drag those onto my creature. Okay. Very simple. Now you could spend hours messing with these tools. Right? We're trying to make something that we actually want to use as a reference to really just paint and draw over in Photoshop with texturing. So I'm going to go, I won't go crazy on him, right? But maybe he's the kind of guy that maybe if we give him a set of horns, it would kind of really look cool on him. So I've got this spike here. Maybe if I do it like a mohawk, just for the sake of this tutorial. I'm just, as I said, I'm just dragging on the model. Okay, so that's my guy. Got this kind of punk ass orc where his scales could actually end up looking like a leather jacket. Now I did not pre-design this, I just literally used the morph tools and decided I'm going to make a character and see what happens. Okay. Now that I've created him in ZBrush, my next thing is go File, Save As, and we have ShrekGoblin.cpr, which means that that's the ZBrush project file. Okay. With the ZBrush, I also have my renderer, which is Keyshot 8, which is the latest version. Now, Keyshot, again, is about $2,000, but the version of Keyshot that comes just for ZBrush is an add-on, and I think it costs about $400 with ZBrush Bridge. Now, Bridge works is like this. I have ZBrush Bridge installed, so if I go to Render, I turn on External Renderer, Keyshot. And now, I can go to BPR, which is Best Preview Render, and I press that, it will send my model, should send my model, directly into